Excellencies and distinguished delegates, may I request that you take your seat? We will be resuming our session soon. Thank you. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, a very good morning to you, and I hope you had a good rest last night to resume our session this morning. Yesterday, we concluded a consideration of agenda item 2. We will consider agenda item 3 in this morning and agenda item 4 in the afternoon. These agenda items will review the work of the Secretariat from the perspective of the mandates provided by the 7th Committee on Environment and Development through the Ministerial Declaration on Protecting Our Planet through Regional Cooperation and Solidarity in Asia and the Pacific, and the Regional Action Program on Air Pollution and other related resolutions. Agenda item 3, considered this morning, will review the Secretariat activities, and agenda item 4 will focus on the areas of current and future work that are proposed to advance regional cooperation. Delegates are invited to consider the documentation, information, and insights provided by the presentations, panel speakers, and country delegations under each of these agenda items, and provide its guidance to the Secretariat with a view to strengthening the role of the ESCAP in addressing environment and development challenges. We will now open agenda item 3, review of the program of work of the Secretariat to address environment and development challenges. Document ESCAP/CED 8/4 provides the background information for this agenda item. The deliberations under agenda item 3 will be informed first by presentation by the Secretariat on the results of the action areas in the program of work, followed by a report delivered by the chair of the ESCAP Technical Expert Group on Environment and Development on the activities of the Technical Expert Group on Environment and Development. These two statements will be followed by a panel on ESCAP's role in addressing environment and development, reflecting on achievements, challenges, and opportunities. Documents ESCAP/CED 8/4 includes 4 draft decisions, which are proposed for adoption by the committee. Following the same approach as yesterday, after statements are delivered under this agenda item, I will draw your attention to these draft decisions for consideration under this agenda item. The committee will then discuss and agree on these and on any additional recommendations or decision member states may propose. I would now like to invite Mr. Sang-Min Nam, Director, Environment and Development Division, ESCAP, to review of the program of work of the Secretariat to address environment and development challenge. Mr. Sang-Min, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, distinguished delegates. It is my honor, pleasure to present the work of the Secretariat. The ESCAP 79th Commission session, which was held in 2023, provide 4 mandates as outlined here. So first, the resolution 79/1 on climate action, 79/2 climate action ocean, and 79/6 ministerial declaration on protecting our planet, which is based on the outcome of a last committee session, and resolution 79/7 on localization and sustainable development goals. During the last 2 years since the 7th committee, our work has focused on those 5 priority areas and has supported the building of multi-stakeholder platforms as shown on the screen. Under the first action area, facilitating cooperation to support to achieve national goals for low carbon transition and low greenhouse gas emissions development strategies, I would like to highlight our work on annual assessment of climate ambition, advocacy, capacity building, and promoting meaningful and inclusive dialogue. Annual assessment of a member states' climate ambition are related to prior to each annual conference of parties to the UNFCCC. These insights help us keep track of member state policy processes, strengthen the platform of UN and national action and advocacy. And this annual review has been prepared by ESCAP, UNEP, and other members, UN issue-based coalition for raising climate ambition in Asia Pacific. ESCAP has been also serving as anchor for advocacy for the development and implementation of pathways to achieve a net zero target. As you can see, 43 member states have announced their net zero target, and 21 member states submitted their long-term low emission development strategies. And in that regard, as the Secretariat and other UN partners have been jointly organizing various programs and activities on loss and damage, just transition, needs-based financing. And partnership in this UN system, we have provided capacity building support for 3 regional, 2 sub-regional, and 1 national GHG emission inventory training workshop in collaboration with the UNFCCC Secretariat with regard to enhanced transparency framework. The Secretariat recognizes that mitigation efforts are not enough in the current climate crisis. We are strengthening our analysis and advocacy on policy coherence and integrated adaptation and mitigation approaches to address climate action in a more comprehensive and synergetic manner. This includes capacity building and support for strategies and readiness for investing in blue carbon, particularly promoting networking on blue carbon, and coherent approaches for ambitious climate action, NDCs, net zero pledges, and long-term low-emission development strategies, identifying opportunities for integrating mitigation and adaptation, promoting the localization of climate action, and capacity building on integrating SDGs with the NDCs. On this, we have also worked on the integrated approach, promoting across key sectors with a new policy-relevant insights on natural resource management. We have issued a policy guidance in collaboration with the International Institute for Sustainable Development, highlighting gaps, opportunities, best practice for strengthening environment health resilience and policy coherence. We continue to play an active role in UN process and look at the role of water in development with a contribution to global reports and processes on water. Low carbon transition strategies must be supported by strategies for climate resilient development and adaptation, which was highlighted by the resolution 79/1. ESCAP's new multi-dimensional risk assessment framework, or INFO, has been developed with the World Food Program and International Institute for Applied System Analysis, and provides new insight on risk trends of our 49 ESCAP members. Policy guideline on agroecology transition for ASEAN, developed by ESCAP, FAO, CIRAD, developed the support of agroecology and safe food system transition, which is called ASSET project and endorsed. Here we are presenting Seoul Initiative Network on Green Growth, which was launched in 2005 at the Ministerial Conference on Environmental Development, which was then held every 5 years by ESCAP. This network is being hosted by the Secretariat. Since then, it provides annual green growth forums with a technical assistance to member states. Over the last almost 20 years, 49 projects have been implemented in support of 20-30 member states. An annual policy consultation forum has facilitated regional South-South and triangular cooperation, as well as collective learning on climate action and green growth. I would like now highlight our work on air pollution through this regional action program on air pollution, which was adopted by last committee session. It is first the region-wide clean air action program negotiated and agreed upon by our member governments. And 5 areas highlighted on this screen are being implemented not only by Secretariat, but various UN partners and non-UN partners. So more detailed account of this wrap-up work will be presented in the afternoon. On ocean, so now turning to ocean area on facilitating efforts and program to protect the ocean. There are 5 main lines of action under the Secretariat's support related to SDG 14. Annual Asia-Pacific Day for the Ocean since 2018 as a forum for dialogue among stakeholders. And regional decade program established with the UNDP, UNEP, IOC, UNESCO, in line with the UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development. And technical assistance via SDG 14 Accelerator tool for supporting strategic planning instrument. We are also promoting internal collaboration on ocean-based climate action across divisions and in support of a member state initiative, which will be presented in the afternoon. And support is also provided to regional dialogue on ocean cities. Now I will move to action on facilitating vertical integration of urban policies. The Asia-Pacific Localization Platform for Sustainable Cities, APLP cities, which was Penang Platform for Sustainable Urbanization, launched at the last APUP 7 in 2019. It's a network of 18 members, a multi-stakeholder coalition, providing support to national, sub-regional, and local government to accelerate action for SDG localization. Yesterday, we had a chance to speak about the details of our work, including this Asia-Pacific Regional Guideline on voluntary local review, and Asia-Pacific Mayors Academy, which is strengthen leadership capacity among city leaders, especially new mayors, through their peer-to-peer learning, and Asia-Pacific Urban Forum, which is being held every 4 years as a platform for exchange ideas and sharing and share solutions. And project on this, there are multiple projects, but here Urban Act project to support local climate action has been instrumental for us to carry on multiple actions and on climate in the urban context. Overall, these efforts enhance city development while fostering better coordination between national and local authorities. For the last 3 decades, ESCAP has convened the regional, this prominent platform, which is called the APUP Asia Pacific Urban Forum. So the 8th Asia Pacific Urban Forum was held October 2023 in ROK, which was celebrating 30th anniversary of APUP. This has been the largest regional gathering of urban stakeholders, including local, national governments, financial institutions, civil society, academia, and research institutions. And now the Secretariat is inviting members and associated members to express their interest in hosting the 9th Asia-Pacific Urban Forum, which will be held in 2027. So we are requesting to send us the expression of interest by 31st of January 2025, so that the host of the next APUPO will be announced at the Commission session in April. And Asia-Pacific SDG localization platform has been launched with the support of the Asia-Pacific localization partnership. So we have this localization platform and localization partnership. So localization partnership before it was a Penang platform for sustainable urbanization, but renamed as Asia-Pacific localization partnership. So this platform, which was showcased at the side event yesterday, is an online platform to support localization climate action, and this will be also presented in the afternoon again. I will now move to the fifth action area, facilitating dialogue and exchange of best practice and experiences on promoting access to information and public participation. ESCAP and UNEP, OHCHR, we have jointly worked on this access to information and public participation. In this regard, we launched the Asia-Pacific Environmental Rights Observatory as a platform for knowledge sharing and awareness raising. And we have provided support for dialogue among countries, particularly our member state in Southeast Asia in the context of ASEAN Environmental Rights Working Group, which has developed a draft Leaders Declaration on environmental rights for the consideration of an Intergovernmental Commission on Human Rights of ASEAN. In the final area of our work, enhancing the network of a regional multi-stakeholder platform, I would like to highlight two of those shown on the slide with the details available in the document. Strengthening regional platforms for multi-stakeholder support on climate resilience, including with the FAO and UNEP and WHO. And strengthening multi-stakeholder dialogue and action on water resources and climate risk through global and regional water processes and networks. These processes all play important roles in our advocacy and outreach, and complementing areas of technical assistance, policy, and normative support. Under this agenda item, we have the following issues for consideration by the committee. First, the draft decision is on enhanced domestic plans and actions in connection with the Ministerial Declaration on protecting our planet through regional cooperation and solidarity. So, encouraging member state members and associated members to enhance their domestic plans and actions as well as regional cooperation. The second draft decision, as shown on the slide, related to enhance urban coherent and development of implementation of NDC 3.0. This is also related to the decision that tabled and discussed yesterday. So scaling up efforts to develop robust and ambitious actions for low carbon, climate resilient development, and support the development and implementation of NDC 3, or third generation of nationally determined contributions. The next draft decision is related to APUP, and especially inviting members and associated members to express their interest in hosting the APUP in 2027. And the last decision contained under this agenda item is inviting members to nominate experts to technical expert group on environmental development as a subsidiary body of this committee. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Sangnim Nam, for your introductory presentation. Next, I invite Dr. Fuad Humbotov, the chair of the ESCAP Technical Expert Group on Environment and Development and head of International Cooperation and Climate Change Division, Ministry of Ecology and Natural Resources, Azerbaijan, to deliver his report on the activities of the Technical Expert Group on Environment and Development. I understand he's presenting online, and the floor is yours, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm here. Thank you very much, dear Excellencies, distinguished delegates. It's a great honor to be with you online, and I regret I couldn't be there in person due to the very hectic period of preparation of the COP29. I'm pleased to address you as the first chair of the ESCAP Technical Expert Group on Environment and Development. As you know, the terms of reference of Technical Expert Group on Environment and Development were endorsed by the 7th Committee on Environment and Development in 2022, following the decision of the 6th Committee on the Environment and Development in 2020. The Technical Expert Group is envisaged to enhance the function of the ESCAP's work on environment and development, in particular implementation of relevant ESCAP resolutions and the ministerial declarations on environment and development. The three main functions for the TEC as outlined in terms of reference are, first of all, timely exchange of information and technical discussions among experts, other stakeholders, and ESCAP, providing technical feedback and advice to the Environment and Technical and Development Division on opportunities to accelerate actions, provide technical feedback and advice on advancing actions through intergovernmental processes. Member states were invited to designate experts to serve on the Technical Expert Group, and the current membership is comprised of experts from 12 countries, namely Azerbaijan, China, India, Japan, Laos, People's Democratic Republic, Maldives, Mongolia, Pakistan, Russian Federation, Tajikistan, Thailand, and Turkey. The group represents expertise relating to different aspects of environment management, such as air pollution, climate change, and others. The Technical Expert Group meeting started its work this year with the inception meeting in January 2024. I was elected as chair in the second meeting in April this year. I have used the warm-up phase of the TEC to better understand the potential of this group of eminent, distinguished experts to be useful in our member states, to our and the Secretariat work. Actually, we are mandated to meet at least once a quarter. In preparation for the present session of this said, the TEC convened at its third meeting to provide feedback and advice on the areas of environment and sustainable development related to the topics of the committee. Interested and available TEC members also joined the following activities: the Asia Low Emission Development Strategy Partnership Forum in Bangkok this year, and Clean Air Week, Air Quality Management in Asia and Pacific in Seoul. Some Technical Expert Group members also contributed to a survey on integrated adaptation and mitigation cases and approach, and participated in the subsequent expert group meeting in addressing climate change through integrated approach, linking adaptation and mitigation in Bangkok. By the way, this direction of activity is very vital, very crucial right now, and very needed in terms of preparation of this linked approach. All these activities were organized in the last few months, and I would like to share some following points regarding the potential activities and work of the Technical Expert Group shared from a practical, technical, and strategic perspective. First of all, without compromising the mandate of our Technical Expert Group, I would like to propose and solicit a broader engagement of the Technical Expert Group in preparation of contents of new initiatives and pledge and implementation of other activities of the global conferences such as COPs, and not limited to the climate change issue, as well as another environment and development matters. And the second, more active cooperation with other such international entities science policy-related organizations as IPCC, Intergovernmental Science Policy Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services, and others. Third direction, upon request of the Committee on Environment and Development under Agenda 2, to consider options to better integration of the urban component international climate strategy. I would like to propose to more broader engagement, acceleration of activities in terms of consultations with the regional all distinguished experts and not limited to. And I suppose TEC will take an initiative to be informed and involved in the preparation of the special report on cities and climate change within IPCC within the next years. I'd like to outline some, take this opportunity to refer to the third main function of the TEC mentioned previously, related to advancing actions through intergovernmental processes. In my role as a COP29 presidency negotiated team member, I would like to share some perspectives on the upcoming 29th Conference of Parties to the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, to be hosted next month by the government of Azerbaijan, as you know, in Baku. Let me relate on some important mechanisms established by COP29 presidency and main activities. First of all, it was established, as you know, the International Advisory Committee, COP29, which is consisted of eminent personalities who will bring valuable perspectives on issues related to various pillars on climate actions. This committee is very vital. It is crucial in terms of to consolidations efforts within the COP29 and to bring together the all prominent personalities from all of the countries. The second is a scientific council of COP29 presidency is established, and that is a distinguished scientific advisory body that brings together leading scientists in universities and think tanks from around the world. Its mission is to provide scientific guidance, support international collaboration, and contribute to the implementation of the Paris Agreement. I suppose our TEC is also going to closely cooperate with such organizations. Other interesting issues and very vital issues from the COP presidency was the launch of Baku Global Climate Transparency Platforms that was launched on 3rd September this year, which is designed to build mutual trust and confidence among parties, support developing countries in preparing and finalizing the BTRs, biannual transparency reports, encourage universal participation of the enhanced transparency framework, and advance the transparency agenda beyond COP29. Moreover, on 21st of September this year, the Board of Fund for Responding for Loss and Damage was made significant decisions towards the fund's full operation at this third meeting in Baku, hosted by COP29 presidency in Azerbaijan. Another very crucial issue that in September, members of COP29 presidency was in New York City for the 79th UN General Assembly and New York Climate Week. Leaders and stakeholders from all over the world had gathered to focus on international cooperation and climate action in New York. And now I'd like to outline some initiatives and outcomes for COP29. I suppose it will be very interesting for you as well. First of all, it's the Climate Finance Action Fund. This fund capitalized with voluntary contributions from fossil fuel producing countries and companies that catalyze the public and private sectors across the mitigation, adaptation, and research development. The second initiative is Baku Initiative for Climate Finance, Investment and Trade. This is also very crucial initiative. I mean, to focus on the nexus of climate finance, investment and trade, and as a platform to promote investment into green diversification, support policy development, and share expertise through dialogue. The third initiative is Green Energy Zones and Corridors. The outcomes of this pledge will commit to green energy zones and corridors, including targets to promote investments, stimulate economic growth, develop, modernize, and expand infrastructure and foster regional cooperation. Another very crucial and important initiative is energy storage and grids, and hydrogen actions as well. Moreover, COP29, the presidency is going to also launch within the COP29 the truth appeal, COP truth appeal. This appeal for COP truth, modeled on the Olympic truth, will highlight the importance of peace and climate action. It will aim to remind all nations of the interplay between conflict and climate change, and emphasize the imperative of finding collective solutions to protect the most vulnerable. Another actions initiatives are the Green Digital Actions, the Baku Initiative on Human Development for Climate Resilience, the Baku Harmonious Climate Initiative for Farmers is also very crucial for agriculture, because this initiative will serve an aggregator, bringing together initiatives, coalitions, and networks to share experience, identify synergies and gaps, facilitate finance, and foster collaboration on agriculture, food, and water, including empowerment, local communities, and women in rural areas. Another very, highly attractive, and in perspective initiative is methane reduction from organic waste. Another issue, the multi-sectoral action pathways for resilient and healthy cities. This is also very interesting. Very crucial in terms of the last day, the agenda to decision on integration of cities urban component in the national strategies, and the activities in this way of the technical expert group. Another initiative, enhanced climate action in tourism. Water for climate action. This outcome declaration will call upon stakeholders to take integrated approach when combating the cause of and impacts of climate change on water basins and water-related ecosystems. And the last interesting initiative is to Baku Global Climate Transparency Platform. As I mentioned, this platform will support developing country parties in the preparation and submission of biannual transparency reports, promote collaborations and knowledge exchange amongst all parties on the full spectrum of the enhanced transparency framework. I see the critical role of ESCAP and other regional commissions in streamlining the message, participating and supporting readiness in several critical areas. In closing, I would like to thank all technical expert group members for their support, systematic support to my role as the first chair, and we expected the election of vice chair and in few months, and I would like forward to being joined by the vice chair in the following phases. I will use this opportunity of this platform to make a direct appeal to the delegations present here to encourage the nomination of TEC members by all states. I would like forward to any comments by member states regarding the role of the TEC. That I regret that I couldn't be in line in person at this distinguished meeting, and due to the very hectic, as I mentioned, the preparation period for 29 COP, and I have to leave this session after my address. Thank you very much.
I thank you, Dr. Humbertov, for these insights into the activities of the technical expert group. Now we will move to the panel on ESCAP's role in addressing environment and development, reflecting on achievements, challenges, and opportunities. I would like to invite the panel speakers to join me at the rostrum. Mr. Lee Hing-sup, Ms. Dashan Seren, Ms. Nolisa Hashim, and Professor Amara Pongaship. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, I would like to introduce each panel member. From my left to my right, we have Mr. Lee Hoon-sup, the Deputy Director General of International Cooperation Bureau, Ministry of Environment, Republic of Korea, Seoul Initiative Network on Green Growth. To my immediate left is Ms. Dashan Sering, Regional Director of the UNEP Asia Pacific Office and co-chair of the issue-based coalition on raising climate ambitions in Asia Pacific. To my immediate right is our chair, Ms. Nolisa Hashim, CEO Urbanize Malaysia, Ministry of Housing and Local Government of Malaysia, and chair of the 8th session of the committee. And to my far right is Professor Amra Pongashapi, chair and representative of Thailand to ASEAN Intergovernmental Commission for Human Rights. This discussion is intended to engage partners and member states in strengthening ESCAP's support to member states. I would like to invite each panel to discuss the role of ESCAP in their respective fields of work. What have been the key areas of partnership with ESCAP, and how have these partnerships benefited member countries? What challenges and opportunities are there for strengthening this work in the future? I would like to request the panelists to present their responses within 10 minutes, starting, and if I would like to ask Ms. Dashan Sering to start off the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Ambassador Meena Yavoli, fellow panelists, excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. So I have the pleasure to present on behalf of UNEP really how we work together with ESCAP in addressing environment and development, reflecting on some of the achievements, opportunities, and some of the challenges. So if we look at science, science shows us that the scale of the triple planetary crises we face today. You think of the crises of climate change, loss of nature, pollution, and waste. All these challenges reinforce each other and drive further damage to environment and to health. A Lancet study showed that 1 in 4 deaths, equivalent to 13.7 million deaths per year, are linked to modifiable environmental conditions. The world is at a critical point for Sustainable Development Goals. Only 17% of the SDGs are on track. And we're looking at nearly half showing moderate progress, some stalling and some regressing. So the interconnected, interlinked nature of the 2030 Agenda, the SDGs, and if you look at the 93 environmental indicators across 17 of the SDGs, we need a paradigm shift in the approach of the UN development system in addressing environmental challenges. All of you have been part of the UN reform and you know the importance of collaboration, requiring an integrated approach, involving expertise and knowledge from the mandates of all the UN agencies, all the funds and programs. So with the UN development system reform in 2018, it has helped improve coordination of the UN support to the 2030 Agenda. 6 years later, today, we see enhanced collaboration. We see an alignment of our collective offer to support countries to address both SDGs and gaps, together with national needs and priorities through the UN Sustainable Development Cooperation frameworks. And at the regional level, the UN system cooperation is working more effectively to address regional and transboundary environmental challenges. The Regional Collaborative Platform, and for our region, we've set up a series of issue-based coalitions and more informal UN networking groups. And here we have UN agencies participate, multiple agencies, to deliver through an integrated approach to support UN country teams at the national level and to address common transboundary issues. Together with ESCAP, we are co-chair of the issue-based coalition on raising climate ambition, and we are also working together on the networking group on oceans and blue economy. And through these experiences, we have seen enhanced regional cooperation, and I will focus a few on air pollution, on oceans, and on the rights agenda. So if you think of the existing platforms, and we have talked about the UN Regional Collaborative platform. The Asia-Pacific Forum on Sustainable Development, this is under the high-level political forum. The high-level political forum, this is the regional forum that puts forward messages from our group. And here we work very closely. ESCAP invites the larger UN system to help engage with the Asia-Pacific Forum on Sustainable Development, the Commission, the Committee on Environment and Development. And countries actually have to prepare sort of, they do the national voluntary reviews. They look at the assessment of the SDGs at the country level. And at the Asia-Pacific Forum on Sustainable Development, we have the opportunity to look at progress reports and to conduct multi-stakeholder roundtables. This year, with ESCAP and UNESCO, we will focus on SDG 14 on oceans and preparing for the SDG review process at the next Asia-Pacific Forum on Sustainable Development in 2025. There's also been increasing UNEP engagement on the issue of ocean for sustainable development. And here, UNEP contributed to a report, Changing Sails, Accelerating Regional Action for Sustainable Oceans in Asia Pacific. We look forward to further scaling up ESCAP's engagement with UNEP's regional mechanisms. And here we're talking about, forums related to the Regional Forum of Ministers and Environment Authorities. We look forward to the next one being held in Fiji in 2025. We also welcome ESCAP's participation in UNEP's thematic forums. And if you start to look at the forums, that focus on ocean action, the coordinating body on seas of East Asia, the Northwest Pacific Action Plan, the Clean Air Action, so we have the Asset Deposition Monitoring Network, the Asia Pacific Clean Air Partnership, and we have the Environment and Health Forum on Health and Environment, the Asia Pacific Adaptation Network. So if I can focus on a few highlights for our recent collaboration, my colleague Mr. Sangmin Nam talked about the joint review of the nationally determined contributions and the advocacy that we are doing through our shared knowledge base, regularly briefing resident coordinators, UN country teams. We look very much forward to being in Baku at the 29th UN Framework Convention on Climate Change Conference of Parties, where we will disseminate key findings from this work. In Baku, we will focus on how we accelerate sectoral transitions for a just, net zero, climate resilient future in Asia. The 2023 Nationally Determined Contribution Review Report highlights the need for systemic transformation in high-emitting sectors. And here it talks about the transformation requiring reducing our reliance on fossil fuels, scaling up renewable energy, electrifying our transportation systems. We are also looking at energy and transport as two of the top GHG emitting sectors, while more than 90% of greenhouse gases come from 4 to 5 sectors. In collaboration with ESCAP, we aim to present an in-depth analysis of the energy and transport sectors for emission reductions, as they offer the largest potential for our region for meaningful action with tangible results. We expect our work to contribute to raising the ambition of climate action, including through the NDC 3.0 process. So, with relation to clean air in Asia Pacific, we are, of course, a partner to the Asia Pacific Regional Action Program on Air Pollution, WRAP-UP. We jointly organized the high-level forum on clean air in Ulaanbaatar last year to strategize WRAP-UP's operationalization, and we also joined forces with ESCAP to conduct multi-stakeholder consultations. At the end of the year, we look forward to organizing a wrap-up regional workshop for South Asia, where we engage key stakeholders and the sub-regions. And we have programmatic joint activities in Laos, PDR, and Cambodia to maximize resources and increase policy impact. But what we've done with wrap-up is we've looked at the different air pollution networks, and we've brought them together. We're looking at the initiatives the Asian Development Bank is doing, other regional, Clean Air Asia, what's happening at the national level, really to make sure that we are coordinated. We're looking whether it's monitoring data, it's the initiatives. Jointly, we organize every year together with ESCAP, the International International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies for Asia Pacific. And here, this year with UNICEF, we highlighted the importance of the multidimensional benefits of clean air investments in tackling air pollution as a global health and development priority. It also featured an exciting group of young people in the region pushing for stronger action on air quality. And if you think about air pollution in terms of the importance of the issue for the region, but it's also one of the most underfunded areas. And here I welcome support from member states to continue to work on clean air. On oceans, my colleague Sangmin talked about, how we're working together to contribute to the UN Decade of Ocean Science and Sustainable Development. And we had this year a dialogue, the Regional Dialogue on Ocean-Based Climate Action, and this was co-hosted by the governments of Indonesia, Fiji, and Maldives. And there is a draft regional initiative on ocean-based climate action. And when you think about oceans as a climate sink, this is going to be a really important area for us to focus on. And I see that in COP29, there will be an increased focus on oceans, looking at it as a carbon sink. And the issue of access to information and public participation in decision-making. And here, together with ESCAP, Office of the UN High Commission for Human Rights, we've provided technical assistance towards a regional framework agreement on environmental rights in ASEAN, with the draft currently undergoing a consultation process. But if you think of our region vis-a-vis Europe, where you have the Aarhus Convention, Latin America and the Caribbean, where you have the ESCAP. I mean, this is a region where we don't have right to information, right to public participation, right to procedural justice. And I think the work with ASEAN is an important step forward. We're working with the Pacific, but I urge this committee really to think about this area as an important area, and we can learn from Europe and the group of Latin America and Caribbean. So if I talk about opportunities, I mean, we've talked about the transition to just net zero climate resilient future. And I think for our region, this issue of a just transition becomes extremely important. And when we talk about, the importance of renewable energy, we also have to keep in mind the importance of energy access. On clean air, I think we have tremendous potential to work together to deliver on the Regional Action Program on air pollution. But I hope ESCAP will join us in the UN Environment Assembly resolution on air quality, where member states requested UNEP to form and facilitate a cooperation network on air quality. On oceans, we look at, the tremendous opportunity to work as oceans at a net sink, and to look at taking forward the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, joint initiatives on coastal adaptation, ocean-based action. And I think the increased access to information is actually the most important information for this region, and I hope this committee will focus on this. And with this, I thank you very much, sir, for the kind attention.
Thank you, Deshan. Can I give the floor now to Ms. Nolisa Hazim? Nolisa, please.
Thank you, Chair. A very good morning to everyone. I think today, if I can have my slides, yeah, all right, yeah. We have had the privilege of working with UN ESCAP since the very early days of the establishment of Urbanist Malaysia. Urbanist is actually a center of excellence under the Ministry of Housing and Local Government, and one of our key role is to accelerate the sustainable urban agenda. So at the time of inception of our organization, SDG localization in Malaysia has always been focused on at the national level. So when we wanted to bring this agenda at the local, we had no real reference except to reach out to the global organizations that have actually been more progressive in localizing the sustainable development agenda. So up to date, Malaysia has actually achieved about 43% of the 248 indicators of the SDGs. And I think in our recent SDG summit just about a month ago, our Prime Minister says that this is not a number that we should be satisfied with, and this is where more collaboration work is really required in order for us to move into the next last years of SDG acceleration. So in Malaysia, we are very committed to the Sustainable Development Agenda, and we have a strong institutional framework to support the sustainability agenda. We have at the national level an SDG National Council chaired by our Prime Minister, and subsequently we actually have 6 working groups, and one of the main working groups is SDG Localizing, which falls directly under our ministry. The reporting of the voluntary national reviews, of course, lies with the purview of the national government under the Ministry of Economy. However, we are now in our second phase of rolling out SDG localization, and in this we will be very much focused on the work track of the local government as well as other stakeholders, including the private sectors and the local communities. So we also have committees working with private sectors and CSOs, NGOs, and all kinds of organizations in the country. So this ecosystem for us is very important, and I think we would not have established this ecosystem if we have not had a lot of support from UN organization, especially for us in Urbanese working with UN ESCAP. And of course, financing has been something that have been put in place. We are trying to strengthen this, especially in funding some of the local programs in Malaysia. So we have an SDG investor map supported by UNDP, and now we have established the SDG Foundation and also an SDG Trust Fund, which is also being supported by the UN agencies. So, of course, now at the local level, we would like to see how we can integrate with some of these priority sectors, not only from the investment angle, but also from some of the opportunities that the local or the cities in Malaysia, could actually take advantage of. So at the national level, we also monitor our data availability by our National Statistics Department. And up to 2022, actually, this data was presented in 2022. Almost we can see the achievement is quite good, where 171 available indicators, which is 71%, and 29% is still unavailable. And this is where the work that we do at the local level, we are to also see how we can ensure that some of these 30% of data could be gathered at the local level. And this is also when the national government realized that it's very important that we work with the local government and cities. So at the in Urbanese as well as in our ministry, we have come up with this Malaysia SDG Cities program to localize the SDG work track. And we have had the privilege of ESCAP's Asia Pacific Regional Guidelines on VLR, which provides us with a framework on how to approach the preparation of a VLR. This has been aligned with the work tracks that we do in Malaysia, taking into consideration that Malaysian cities have actually adopted the Earth Summit 1992 Local Agenda 21. And because of that, we also have other sustainable development frameworks in the country and also at the subnational level. And so the Malaysia SDG cities actually have aligned the phases identified in the Asia Regional Guidelines to localize the work track at the cities level. And alignment is very important, and this is where we hope that through the Malaysia SDGs program, we can overcome the 43% progress that we have to date, and we could so that we can accelerate this further. And this, of course, as you can see in the Asia Pacific document, it already promotes the idea of vertical integration, and I think this is something that we truly appreciate, because I think we now have also subnational governments preparing their voluntary subnational reviews. So we hope that over the next years to come, we can complete the cycle of each cities and each subnational or national state governments that we call them in Malaysia could complete their subnational report. So this is where we are today, about 67 cities already undertaking the program. We are still at 43%, and our target is to complete this by 2029. We have 156 cities, so we are getting better momentum over the years as more and more cities are learning from each other, and they are also becoming more confident. And every year, Malaysia hosts the Malaysia Urban Forum, and of course, ESCAP is one of our partners in the Malaysia Urban Forum, together with UN Habitat. And I think this has also provided more confidence to our cities on ensuring that not only are they preparing a local document, but it is being cited at a global level and having insights from global partners. So we have our challenges at the local level. We still have data unavailable, as you can see in this diagram. So we are tracking this against the 169 targets. And also when we are preparing this analysis for the cities, we also work with them on their programs and projects, and we realize that about only 60% of the program that they are doing are actually showing good progress towards the targets, but we still have about 40% which are implemented with no continuity, and also some which about 13% which are not achieving the targets. So this is where the SDG roadmap is very important, and we are encouraging every city to actually prepare their roadmap. And I think when we are preparing roadmap, this is where we really need more assistance from as many parties as possible to ensure that we have the best practices that we can adopt locally. So this is the process that we have adopted. We pay a lot of attention to engagement, and I believe that true engagement is something that we want to hand over. We make it a point to the cities that this document is theirs. They need to take it with their community, and actually we are just a facilitator and a moderator. And I feel that this process is very important, and we have started to see cities doing their second VLR on their own, and I think this is where we can measure success. So moving forward, I think this is the most important critical stage for us, because awareness is something that we continuously do. Preparing the document and analyzing the gaps is, of course, very crucial, but building capacity and also aligning and making sure that the kind of solutions that our cities are adopting is the best is important. And this is why we really look forward with the rebranding of our Penang platform for sustainable urbanization. We have rebrand this and accelerate this to a different level, where it's now very focused on localization for sustainable cities, and the partnerships that the organization has is actually very, very crucial. And we hope that through the sharing of resources by all partners and all the projects and policy briefs that are being developed by the global organizations, our cities will be able to enhance their capacity and strengthen their work track even further. I also want to say that our relationship and the collaboration with ESCAP has actually not only in the SDGs work track, we have actually worked with them on closing the loop program, where I think is a very important project, where we did it with 4 other cities, Nakhon Si Thammarat, Da Nang and Surabaya, as well as Kuala Lumpur. And in that project, the outcome is actually to go for zero plastic leakage for Kuala Lumpur, and also to have a repository plastic waste data. And I think the assistance that we got, the technical assistance that we got from ESCAP was very very crucial in giving our local players more insights as to what other parts of the world are working on. So we have definitely benefited from this collaboration, and really want to thank ESCAP for always showing us the guidance and giving us the support. Yeah, thank you very much.
Our next presenter is Mr. Lee. Give you the floor. Mr. Lee, thank you.
Distinguished delegates and ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having me today. Good morning. So today I'm going to dive a bit more into the performance and progress report that was presented by the ESCAP Secretariat Director Nam Sang-min, the Seoul Initiative Network on Green Growth. The Seoul Initiative, the Seoul is, as you may know, the capital city of Republic of Korea. The Seoul Initiative was launched in 2005 by the Korean government together with UN ESCAP. We've been aiming to promote sustainable development and environment management and green growth in Asia and the Pacific region. By this initiative, we have forum. We also have pilot projects. We have 47 member countries by this initiative. The number is a bit different from the slide that was presented by the ESCAP Secretariat, but we've been carrying out 53 projects across 21 countries. There is, by this initiative, we have a policy support. With this, we've been providing environmental policy advice, and we've been strengthening the capacity to address the environmental issue, including climate change. There is also network building. This is another important area that we have achieved. So by this network building, we have established a platform for knowledge sharing and cooperation among governments and experts. So there is also, as I stated earlier, there is also a pilot project. By this pilot project, we've been implementing projects and practical support in sustainable energy management and rural development. After the pilot project, we were successful in implementing the ODA project as well. And we had 4 ODA projects from the pilot project. The most recent one is sanitation system improvement in Gary area in Ulaanbaatar, and reducing desertification. So this is the most recent one, and this is funded by the Ministry of Environment of Korea. So this is analysis of Seoul Initiative performance. Most targeted area for the project was about waste and water and sanitation. And most targeted regions were Southeast Asia and South Asia. And for the forum, we had topics about green growth and climate change. This was the most discussed area for the forum. And this is the future direction of this Seoul initiative. We've been strengthening cooperation and driving commitment to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in Asia-Pacific regions, and this region is most vulnerable region to climate change. But we will be more focusing on circular economy from the next stage, because this is another ongoing. There is ongoing high demand for the circular economy, and we also have a important milestone or important international treaty coming. So we are thinking that we need to focus more on circular economy from the next stage. And as I stated, we've been focusing on the Southeast Asia so far, but we will be more focusing on the Central Asian countries from the next stage. And another important point about this initiative is we will prioritize on the capacity building for the member countries, and we will extend the project duration from 1 year to a multi-year approach. And we will be trying to enhance the country-specific policy advice and technical assistance. So the Seoul initiative has played a vital role in promoting sustainable development, and we will continue to lead in supporting efforts to address environmental issues in Asia and the Pacific region by providing tailored support to meet the specific needs of each country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hung Sap Lee. Our next presenter is Professor Amara Pongsa-Sip. You have the floor, ma'am.
Thank you. I will go quickly through my slides. I'll skip some of them. I'm talking on behalf of the ASEAN Working Group on the drafting of the Declaration of Environmental Rights, and in the scale of ASEAN, which consists of 10 countries. And the ASEAN Charter was drafted and adopted in 2007. It was agreed that there would be 3 communities, one political, the other one economic, and the third one social, cultural. And in the ASEAN Charter, Article 14, it states that there will be one, or at least one, human rights body for ASEAN. And as you see in the program, it's on the third layer. AICHA, ASEAN Intergovernmental Commission on Human Rights, was established in 2009 to be the overarching body of ASEAN working on human rights. And one of the mandate is to draft the ASEAN Declaration on Human Rights, which was drafted. According to the term of reference, like I said, this is an overarching body, and we are supposed to be working together with all ASEAN sectoral bodies. The relationship in the bottom line, the relationship with other human rights bodies within ASEAN, AICHA will coordinate with them. And according to the mandates, we are supposed to do anything related to human rights, and especially, including environment. And the AICHA drafted the ASEAN Declaration on Human Rights, which was adopted in 2011. And Article 28 states that every person has the right to an adequate standard of living for himself or herself and his or her family. And there are many subcategories, but category E is the right to safe drinking water and sanitation, and category F, the right to a safe, clean, and sustainable environment. The ASEAN Human Rights Declaration also has Article 36, which indicate that ASEAN should adopt meaningful people-oriented and gender-responsive development and work on many things, including the protection and sustainability of the environment for the peoples of ASEAN. So this is what we are doing. And in addition, in 2015, ASEAN adopted an ASEAN Community Vision 2025. What is needed here is that when ASEAN was established to have 3 communities, the agencies under those communities tend to be working separately in pillars. And so this vision, ASEAN Community Vision 2025, indicate that we should collaborate and work together among the 3 pillars. And so the mandate and the mindset of ASEAN has been shifting from focusing on the 3 communities to integrating activities of the 3. And with AICHA, with the mandate of overarching body working on human rights, we feel very strongly that AICHA should be the ones who integrate activities to include rights-based approach to environmental issues. And I was talking about the Vision 2025. They are now drafting Vision post 2025, and in here, it was adopted in 2023, indicated that we will continue to collaborate, to work cross-sectorally, and AICHA will continue to work on integrating activities to include human rights dimensions into activities, including environmental activities. So that's the background. Since I see that many of you come from all over the world. In terms of involvement with ESCAP, OSCHR, UNEP, UNICEF, UNIFEM, we collaborate with UN agencies, and the post-Rio Declaration 1992, which I put here, start talking about environment, and ASEAN as a body had been trying to follow and adopt the Rio Declaration. And we have had many activities included in here, but all activities in here are all environmental activities with no rights-based approach included. And I put in here, we don't need to go through them. There are lots of them, and you people from environmental ministries know that you have done a lot of work on environment. But most of them had no recognition of human rights. Oops, what happened? Oh, okay, now let's go back. Okay, so those were ASEAN activities carried out by environmental people with no recognition of human rights. For human rights, AICHA, activities on environment started in 2009, and we did a lot of consultations and regional workshops, etc., on environment. I won't go through them. But these are all trying to introduce human rights into the environmental dimension. Those were from 2009 to 2019, and then COVID took place, and we did not do anything in 2020. But after that, we realized that we need to continue working on environmental issues, and because most activities that were carried out between 2009 and 2014 were carried out in Myanmar by Myanmar representative. But in 2021, there was a coup in Myanmar. And so the, the ownership of the environmental activities shifted from Myanmar to Thailand. And I, as a Thailand representative to AICHA, agreed with Myanmar, because we have been working together, that from now on, Thailand will take the lead on working on environmental issues. And in 2021, we collaborated with UN ESCAP, UNICEF, UN Women, organized a 3-day workshop. And this 3-day workshop had been co-organized and supported by UNESCAP and other UN agencies. The first day, advancing rights-based approach to environmental decisions. And here we introduced to ASEAN people that in looking at environmental issues, we need 3 categories of human rights. One is substantive rights. I've been hearing you people talking about water, ocean, clean air, etc. Those are what we call substantive rights, the rights to air, to water, to clean water, etc. We also introduced the term governance and accountability rights, for which the governments and corporate sectors should take accountability, should be responsible for taking care of environment with recognition of human rights. And the third category of rights when we work on environment is access rights and procedural rights, for which we focus on participation, consultations, access to relevant information, etc. So this took place on the first day of the workshop in 2021. The second day we called it Climate Change, Gender and Human Rights, with support from UN Women, and we look at the UN Women report, which came out in 2020. And the third day was with UNICEF and strengthening children's rights to a safe, clean, healthy, and sustainable environment in ASEAN. These terms were being drafted. Here we were drafting the ASEAN version because the Special Rapporteur on Environment had proposed the global one already. At the end of the 3-day workshop, we agreed that AICHA and AMS meaning ASEAN ministerial sectors, should collaborate with UN agencies to apply the principles and policy guidance for children's and women's rights to a healthy environment. We also agreed that AICHA and AMS should coordinate work plan to develop a regional framework on environmental rights, and we agreed that AICHA should prepare priority programs, for which we did. So in 2022, we organized coordination meeting together with UNESCAP, OSHR, etc., UNEP, and we agreed that we should set up a working group on environmental rights framework. And the objective is to try to draft something. And we proposed that the working group should consist of all these people. I won't go through them. They are ASEAN sectoral bodies as well as CSOs and relevant UN agencies and qualified and experienced experts. So the working group was proposed, the model of the working group was proposed, and the term of reference of the working group was also proposed, and the working group proposed those to Aisha, and Aisha agreed on the modality of the working group and agreed on the component of the working group and agreed that we should meet. And for the meetings of the working group, we have been supported by ESCAP, UNEP, OSHR, etc. And so we moved on and organized 5 working group meetings. And we also, after each working group meeting, we met with Aisha and have some interface of exchange. And so the 5 working group meetings took place between 2023 and 2024, which is this year. The first meeting in August 2023, we look at the background study and some providing information related to environment issues to the working group. And the second meeting in November, we proposed that we will have the goal to develop the framework together. But what to call this framework, we will decide later. That's the second meeting. The third meeting of the working group took place in February 2024. And at this meeting, we agreed that we will call this framework a declaration, because we had lots of argument as to how much detail should be included in there. And so we called it a declaration. And in May, the 4th meeting, we agreed that in addition to calling it a declaration, we will call it a draft ASEAN Declaration on the Right to a Safe, Clean, Healthy, and Sustainable Environment. And we submit the draft to Aisha. This was in July, early this year in Vientiane, and Aisha agreed that they will take ownership of the draft and will continue to work. With the submission of the draft to Aisha, the ASEAN Foreign Ministers meetings also agreed and recognized that the draft declaration had been submitted, and at the summary record of the ASEAN Foreign Ministers interface meeting with Aisha documented and encouraged Aisha to finalize the draft declaration on the environment in line with Article 28F of the ASEAN Human Rights Declaration, and also that the working group will continue to do something and submit and finalize it. The joint communique of the ASEAN Foreign Ministers meetings also recognized that the working group had drafted a declaration, and Aisha will continue to work together in collaboration with other sectoral bodies, especially sectoral bodies on environment, and we should work together and try to put human lenses into the environmental issues. And I'd like to end here by thank you, UN, ESCAP, OSCHR, UNEP, UNICEF, UNIFEM, for all the support we have been given. Thank you very much.
I would like to thank all distinguished panelists for sharing their perspectives and for the discussions. I will now open the floor for interventions responding to the panel presentations, and I kindly ask delegates and participants to focus their interventions on the issues raised during the introductory presentations and the panel. Time for delivering country statements will be allocated after responses to the panel presentation. I would like to first open the floor for interventions from members of country delegations. Please raise your nameplate to indicate your interest to take the floor. I can see the flag of the distinguished delegate of the Russian Federation. You have the floor, sir.
Благодарю вас, господин председатель. Уважаемый господин председатель, если честно, я удивлен отсутствием реакции со стороны делегации на те выступления, которые были сделаны в рамках круглого стола. Те вопросы, которые поднимались, они волнуют нас всех. Более того, не буду скрывать, что многие мысли, высказанные панелистами, и они имеют абсолютное право на это, они вызывают много вопросов. Это первое. Я хотел бы далее отреагировать на то, что говорил секретариат относительно выстраивания программы работы секретариата, Program of Work of the Secretariat. Я бы хотел остановиться на концептуальных подходах, на вопросе о концептуальных подходах, conceptual approaches, которые используются в работе секретариата. И, конечно, может быть, коротко отреагировать на некоторые идеи, высказывавшиеся панелистами. Первое. Относительно выстраивания программы работы секретариата. Знаете, на наш взгляд, мы по-прежнему не видим достаточно глубокого и по-настоящему комплексного уровня работы секретариата на природоохранном направлении. Не обижайтесь, мы вместе стараемся улучшить работу. В этом наша общая роль. О чем конкретно речь? Посмотрите, пожалуйста, на те тематические направления, которые секретариат выделяет в качестве приоритетных. Они все опираются на 14-й параграф Министерской декларации по окружающей среде 2022 года. Это справедливо? Это справедливо. Это справедливо. Именно так. Но этого недостаточно. Потому что министры в декларации обозначили тематические направления, которые содержатся в пункте 12. Они не also contained, они просто contained. Извините, пожалуйста, здесь важно быть четким в переводе. Я понимаю все сложности устного перевода. Я говорю из головы, у меня нет текста. И что получается? В работе секретариата отсутствуют такие тематические направления, как сохранение биоразнообразия, продвижение экосистемного подхода, защита экосистем. Это упущение. Нельзя концентрироваться только на том параграфе, который дает целеположение исполнительному секретарю. Это приоритетные направления для отправной точки, но это не полный спектр всех задач, которые были определены министрами. Это то, что... Плюс еще один аспект в работе секретариата. Мы по-прежнему усматриваем дисбалансы в выстраивании работы. И просим, я бы просил правильно меня понять. Мы вовсе не подвергаем критике, мы вовсе не выступаем против значения того или иного тематического направления. Будь то климат, океаны, защита воздушной среды. Но мы же все видим, что каждым вторым словом является климат. Ну, это важнейшая тема, но это не единственный свет в окошке. Beam of light in our window. Спасибо переводчикам. Я не закончил, господин председатель. У меня еще есть два тезиса. Я упомянул о... Ну не улыбайтесь, это же действительно польза того разговора, который у нас сейчас происходит. Для этого мы устраиваем эти круглые столы. С тем, чтобы мы могли поговорить реально, не по бумаге, а применить голову. Концептуальные подходы, которые используются в работе секретариата. Я, честно сказать, обратил внимание на выступление уважаемого представителя регионального бюро ЮНЕП в Азии и Тихом океане. И вы знаете, мне в гораздо большей степени симпатична была презентация нашего уважаемого коллеги из ЮНЕП. Почему? Я увидел гораздо более четкий подход к использованию концепций и терминологии. Что я имею в виду? Наши коллеги из секретариата ESCAP в своих выступлениях постоянно используют терминологию, которая не опирается на консенсусное принятие в системе ООН. Ну, возьмите, к примеру, опять же, климат, который у всех на кончике языка сейчас. Постоянно используется термин low carbon transition. Ну, меня вызывает вопрос. В секретариате читают документы Парижского соглашения? В Парижском соглашении вы не найдете этого термина. Вы не найдете в Парижском соглашении термина low carbon transition. Вы не найдете этого термина. Давайте возьмем последнее решение Шарм-эль-Шейха. Вы не найдете в шарм-эль-шейхских решениях low carbon transition. Единственное, где вы найдете этот термин, и это будет наша резолюция ESCAP. И действительно, там этот термин есть. А я бы сказал, что это результат очень длительных переговорных процессов, и он вовсе не означает то, что это, как говорится, стопроцентное принятие данного термина. Это пример, но это важно. Почему это важно? И не смотрите, господин председатель, на меня так строго. Я говорю, может быть, немножечко дольше, чем мне бы самому хотелось. Но это важный разговор. К тому же, например, вот один из панелистов почти 15 минут выступал. Так что уж позвольте представителю делегации тоже, как говорится, полностью использовать то время, которое сейчас нам предоставлено для обмена мнениями, живого обмена мнениями, для мозговой атаки. Ну так вот, к вопросу о мозговой атаке, к вопросу о мозгах. Использование терминологии low carbon искажает сущностное понимание проблематики климата. Исследователи, которые занимаются этой темой, вам дадут ответ на вопрос, почему использование такого термина искажает существо климатической проблематики. Я в курсе прекрасно этой темы, просто не хочу сейчас углубляться в это. Дальше. Оставим климат в стороне. Но у нас есть другие вопросы, которые периодически возникают. Вот мы употребляем слова и не задумываемся о том, что за этим последует. Зеленая экономика, голубая экономика. Это не концепции, которые имеют консенсусное восприятие в системе ООН. Ну, все уже давно забыли, наверное, ООНовские документы, которые принимались еще по итогам конференции Рио+20. Я их помню. Конкретно, The Future We Want, резолюция по итогам Рио+20. Там четко сказано, если уж брать конкретно зеленую экономику, что это всего лишь один из возможных инструментов. Is one of the important possible instruments. Yes, that's what was said in this resolution. Я к чему? Я что хочу сказать? Я бы хотел, чтобы мы избежали ситуации, когда мы готовим рецепты по принципу one size fits all. Такого рода подходы многократно критиковались на различных уровнях в системе ООН. И последнее. Я не хотел этого касаться, но я не мог не отреагировать на, так сказать, достаточно эмфатичное выступление одного из уважаемых панелистов по тематике природоохранных прав. Environmental rights. Вот уж точно, от чего бы мы от имени нашей делегации хотели бы предостеречь секретариат, так это от того, чтобы глубоко уходить в проблематику природоохранных прав. И поверьте, я понимаю, о чем говорю. И не потому, что мы возражаем, поверьте, это не к вопросу о том, что скажут, вот русские возражают против прав человека. Да нет, конечно. We are never against the human rights, by the way. Вот. И еще я только хочу сказать профессиональную вещь. Резолюция Совета по правам человека голосовалась 11 раз. 11, в прямом смысле слова. По различным проблемам. Заголовок хороший. Однако проект резолюции Совета по правам человека, она находится на стыке международного права и экологического права. Это уже тяжело. Концепции, которые в этой резолюции упоминаются, резолюция Совета по правам человека, они не признаны в международном плане. Нравится, не нравится – это другое дело. Но не нам здесь, в ESCAP, уходить настолько глубоко в эту тематику. Заканчиваю. I'm finishing. Конечно, нам интересно посмотреть опыт региональных организаций, не входящих в систему ООН, опыт АСЕАН, но ни в коей мере это не значит прямого, линейного применения этого опыта в системе ООН. Спасибо, господин председатель. И спасибо вам за ваше терпение. Спасибо.
I thank the distinguished delegate for the Russian Federation for that contribution. Any other member states would like to make any intervention with regards to the panelists? And I'm seeing none. So let me open the floor for other participants' interventions. Please just indicate your nameplate here. UCLG. Yes, you have the floor, sir. Ma'am, sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. Very good morning, Excellencies, Chair and delegates. I like to also react on the discussion. Actually, we represent local governments in this whole Asia Pacific, and we have a bottom-up approach in really understanding the needs of local governments. This including the importance of resiliency, disaster reduction, as well as building a strong resiliency in cities and communities. And ESCAP has been a long-standing partner of UCAG ASPAC, and it's really a pleasure for us to be part of this diverse consortium of the Urban Act projects. And I like to emphasize one thing on this importance of enabling environment. We, as part of this Urban Act program, conducted the City Enabling Environment for Environmental and Climate Governance Assessment. So this has been the result of this assessment. And the assessment revealed the importance of governance gap, also revealed the importance of policy integration in reducing and building this resilience, as well as the urgent need for capacity development. We also support the work of the ESCAP Secretariat, and of course including the member states, in this building the capacity of local governments leaders through the Asia Pacific Mayors Forum. This is a crucial platform. Last but not least, another area that we have been working is the localization of SDGs. We cannot achieve SDGs without engaging local governments and local actors, as we know that almost more than 65% of SDGs must be implemented at the local level. So we are also particularly working with local governments, with partners in voluntary local governments, as well as voluntary subnational reviews in 7 countries. And VLRs include also cities in Japan, and Indonesia, and Nepal, and others. So advocacy has been our core works of this organization. And we are quite organized in this advocacy body, since there are several local governments networks in this world. So we created what we call it Asia Pacific Local Governments Coordinating Body, APLG, that is also endorsed by friends from UN. So this, one of the things that came up from this APLG advocacy is the Ministerial Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction. Through this local governments assembly that was held recently and on the 14th in the occasion of APMC DRR, we synergized the importance of climate action and risk reduction, disaster risk reduction, especially in this region where the disasters occurs quite oftenly. So last, we remain committed in strengthening the local government's capacity as well as fostering regional cooperation. In conclusion, I think we all understand the importance of local governments in shaping the future of sustainability, and we are honored to contribute to this ESCAP mission in creating resilient as well as sustainable region. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can I give the floor to FHI 360?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, my intervention will highlight the importance of localization in the context of air pollution that many of the panelists has already discussed a bit already. As an international non-governmental organization working globally to advance equity, health, and well-being through data-driven and locally led solutions, FHI 360 recognizes that addressing air pollution in the Asia-Pacific region is not just an environmental challenge, it's a matter of protecting health, fostering sustainable development, and improving the quality of life for millions. Addressing this issue requires more than technical solutions. It calls for inclusive, collaborative approaches that bring together local communities, governments, and scientific expertise. Our work under the USAID Clean Air Project in Kathmandu Valley, Nepal, embodies this philosophy. By engaging local communities and stakeholders in air quality monitoring and supporting community-driven research, we strive to ensure that solutions are shaped by those most affected. The real-time localized data generated by these efforts not only raises awareness, but also informs policies that are responsive to the unique challenges of each community. We also recognize that while many valuable air quality data platforms exist, it is essential to ensure these resources are accessible to everyone. Presenting data in clear, easy-to-understand formats and through user-friendly tools is crucial for empowering communities and local stakeholders to effectively apply this information in their daily life, advocacy efforts, and decision-making processes. In alignment with the Regional Action Program on Air Pollution, we see our role in scaling up the impact of collective actions aimed at improving air quality across the region. Our experience in Kathmandu and beyond highlights the importance of community engagement and participatory science in driving meaningful and sustainable change. We are committed to providing technical expertise, fostering open dialogues and partnerships, and building local capacities to enhance the effectiveness of air pollution mitigation efforts, ensuring they are tailored to local needs. Finally, at FHI 360, we believe that progress in addressing air pollution must be rooted in collaboration and inclusion. It is not about imposing solutions, but about co-creating them with those who are most impacted. By putting communities at the heart of our work, we ensure that the actions we take are grounded in real-world experiences and have a lasting transformative impact. We envision a future where air quality across the Asia-Pacific is not just improved, but sustained through collective effort, where science, collaboration, and community resilience work hand in hand to create healthier and more equitable outcomes for all. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. May I thank you all for these insights. And I would also like to thank our distinguished panelists and invite them to please take their assigned seats while we proceed to the next section. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, I will now open the floor for interventions. You will be given 3 minutes to speak, and there will be a timer, so please keep within the time. I will first open the floor to interventions and statements from members, associate members, and observer countries. Then I will invite statements from intergovernmental international organizations. The floor is open for statement, and I give the floor to the Russian Federation. You have the floor, sir.
Спасибо, господин председатель. Я надеюсь, я не буду единственным, кто выступает. Окей. Уважаемый господин председатель, наше выступление будет охватывать сразу 2 пункта повестки дня. Пункт 3 и пункт 4. Азиатско-Тихоокеанский регион бурно развивается. При анализе определения подходов к решению текущих задач в этой сфере необходимо придерживаться комплексного подхода, обеспечивающего баланс между всеми 3 компонентами устойчивого развития. Наращивание природоохранного сотрудничества на площадке ESCAP является одним из приоритетов Российской Федерации. Мы приветствуем работу в русле положений ключевых глобальных конвенций и соглашений в сфере защиты окружающей среды, а также документов, принятых на площадке комиссии, таких как Декларация министров о защите нашей планеты и региональная программа действий по загрязнению воздуха. Непреложного внимания требует соблюдение межгосударственного процесса деятельности системы ООН. Мы поддерживаем вовлечение в работу ESCAP всех заинтересованных участников. Я бы здесь, с учетом их соответствующей компетенции и безусловном соблюдении процедур и практики подключения неправительственных организаций к работе в системе ООН. Считаем критически важным продолжать в рамках комиссии сотрудничество на экологическом треке по таким темам, как устойчивое потребление и производство. К сожалению, эта тема выпадает пока что из фокуса внимания комитета. Далее, сохранение биоразнообразия. Укрепление климатической устойчивости региона. Загрязнение воздуха. Деградация земель. Обезлесение. Тоже пока не в фокусе внимания. Повышение качества управления особо охраняемыми природными, в том числе морскими территориями. Борьба с загрязнением пластиком. Обеспечение экологической чистоты акваторий морей и океанов. Продвижение устойчивых практик сельского хозяйства. Экологически устойчивых практик сельского хозяйства. И, конечно, устойчивая урбанизация. Поэтому еще раз подчеркиваем, важно избегать селективных подходов к трактовке Министерской декларации 2022 года. Господин председатель, Российская Федерация последовательно оказывает экспертную и финансовую поддержку работе комиссии, это известно. Прежде всего в проектной деятельности. Мы стараемся содействовать государствам-членам в выполнении международных природоохранных соглашений. Включая Парижское соглашение. А также содействуем развитию транспортного сотрудничества в целях эффективного, трансграничного сотрудничества в целях эффективного сохранения природных территорий. Завершаю. Хотел бы подчеркнуть, что возможность эффективной работы на любом направлении деятельности ESCAP, в том числе на экологическом треке, предполагает наличие соответствующей политической воли всех участников диалога, равноправного и взаимоуважительного сотрудничества. В этой связи мы возлагаем большие надежды на площадку комиссии и, в частности, на профильный комитет по окружающей среде, который считаем одним из, как говорится, важнейших для обсуждения механизмов согласования подходов государств-членов ESCAP к решению актуальных проблем окружающей среды. Спасибо.
Thank you, Russian Federation. Can I give the floor to India?
Respected Mr. Chair, India is committed to balancing the rapid economic growth with its responsibility towards environmental protection. Our approach to addressing the environmental issues is deeply integrated into our development policies and actions. To give an example, India's GDP between 2005 and 2019 has grown with a compounded annual growth rate of about 7%, whereas the emissions have grown at a rate of about 4%. This demonstrates that India has decoupled its economic growth from greenhouse gas emissions, reducing the emission intensity of its GDP. India's national strategy of Panchamrit was enunciated by the Honorable Prime Minister of India at COP26. It rests on 5 key elements, that is, reaching a non-fossil fuel capacity of 500 gigawatt by 2030, fulfilling at least half our energy requirements through renewable energy by 2030, reducing projected CO2 emissions by 1 billion tons by 2030, reducing carbon intensity of the economy by 45% by 2030 over 2005 levels, and finally paving the way for achieving a net zero emission target by 2070. A key part of India's strategy for development is our commitment towards transitioning towards a low carbon economy. This vision is clearly outlined in India's nationally determined contributions under the Paris Agreement. I am happy to share that India has achieved most of its targets of the first NDC well in advance and has submitted its updated NDCs in 2022. Government of India has also included a non-quantitative target in the updated NDC, namely lifestyle for environment, as a key to combating climate change by focusing on mindful consumption. India has taken climate action through National Action on Climate Change, through its national missions in specific areas of solar energy, energy efficiency, water, sustainable agriculture, health, Himalayan ecosystem, sustainable habitat, Green India, and strategic knowledge for climate change. Honorable Prime Minister of India has called everyone to plant trees as tribute to their mother under a campaign called Ek Pad Maa Ke Naam, Plant for Mother. Greener and more sustainable urban centers have been a focus as several initiatives have been taken under the Smart Cities mission. India recognizes the urgent need for enhancing financial resources in climate action, and we have taken decisive steps in this regard. Our National Action Plan on Climate Change therefore commits resources for both mitigation and adaptation, focusing on key areas such as renewable energy, water conservation, and sustainable agriculture. There is a need to catalyze international efforts for generating new and additional financial resources and the transfer of technology, as these are among the commitments of the developed countries under the UNFCCC and the Paris Agreement. India firmly believes that equity and climate justice must be the basis of global climate action. India gives primacy to a human-centric approach in the collective quest for a brighter global future and remains committed to sharing its development experience and expertise with the Global South. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, India. Can I give the floor to the representative of Bangladesh? You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Chair and distinguished delegates, Bangladesh takes ESCAP Secretariat, thanks ESCAP Secretariat for its report and work on the 5 programmatic areas that closely align with the national priorities, our national priorities, that is low carbon transition, air pollution, ocean protection, sustainable urban development, and public participation in environmental decision making. As a climate vulnerable country, Bangladesh attaches high importance to climate adaptation, biodiversity protection, and pollution management, among other environmental and development concerns. While our contributions to global greenhouse emissions is minimal, we are disproportionately affected by the adverse impact of the climate change, including rising sea levels, extreme weather events, and shifting rainfall patterns that threaten our agriculture, ecosystem, and livelihoods. We have launched a forward-looking climate prosperity plan outlining a just and viable transition pathway from climate vulnerability to resilience. The plan aims to drive investment in green technology, renewable energy, and sustainable infrastructure towards achieving a nature-positive and climate-smart future. Moreover, the Bangladesh Delta Plan 2100, BDP 2100, has been adopted for pursuing a long-term strategy integrating climate adaptation, water resource management, and environmental sustainability. We enhanced the scope of ambition of our nationally determined contribution NDC in 2021 and launched the National Adaptation Plan NAP in 2022, envisaging the need for adaptation financing to the tune of USD 230 billion by 2050. Our government is now working in a determined manner to minimize the use of plastic in supply chain and has revitalized efforts to realize our nationally determined targets for promoting renewable energy use. We urgently call upon all advanced and emerging economies to submit further ambitious and measurable indices by 2025 to help limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. In the regional context, we advocate the implementation of action program on air pollution, particularly the efforts to enhance air quality monitoring and data sharing, which will help mitigate transboundary air pollution across South Asia. As a coastal nation, we support the implementation of Commission resolution and ocean protection and urge member states to align the efforts with global frameworks such as UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development. Our delegation actively participated in the regional dialogue of ocean-based climate action held on 19 September 2024. A number of our municipal authorities, including those in large metropolitan areas, are working on sustainable urban development initiatives, including the adoption of nature-based solutions in light of experiences gathered from other comparable contexts. We encourage the establishment of multi-stakeholder platforms such as Asia-Pacific SDG localization platform to share knowledge products and good practices, as well as to foster dialogue on urban resilience and climate-sensitive locally led initiatives. Finally, we emphasize the importance of public participation in environmental decision-making and appreciate the establishment of the Asia-Pacific Environmental Rights Observatory to promote citizens' oversight. We recognize the need for continued support for participatory approaches that empower communities and ensure that their voices are heard in policy formulation. In conclusion, Bangladesh reaffirms its commitments to the objectives of the Ministerial Declaration on protecting our planet through regional cooperation and solidarity in the Asia and the Pacific. We urge member states to enhance multi-sectoral collaboration with particular attention to financing and technology transfer to help accelerate our shared pursuit of a sustainable and resilient future for all. I thank you.
Thank you, Bangladesh. May I now give the floor to the representative of Japan? You have the floor, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Japan welcomes this agenda item and would like to thank the Secretariat for reporting on the results of the review of the work done under the sub-program on environment and development. Japan believes that it's important to generate global environmental benefits in an efficient and effective manner while respecting the integrity of the individual respective multilateral environmental agreements. In that regard, we appreciate the citation in paragraph 14 of a landmark resolution that was just adopted at UNEA 6 at UNEP, Resolution 6/4, entitled Promoting Synergies, Cooperation or Collaboration for National Implementation of Multilateral Environmental Agreements and Other Relevant Environmental Instruments, co-sponsored by 6 countries, including Japan. Implementing this resolution, in our view, is key to ensuring an efficient as well as a coherent outcome at all levels, especially in light of the mounting resource pressures we all face in implementing these instruments. To catalyze such actions, Japan, as one of the founding members of the Global Environment Facility, continues to be one of the largest contributors to the fund, which is designated as the financial mechanism of the 5 major environmental conventions and which is increasingly pursuing such integrated programs. For this reason, Japan's Vice Minister of Environment expressed support at HLPF in New York to contribute to the publication of a study that looks into the collaborative promotion of such synergies together with other stakeholders, including ESCAP and ADB. We look forward to working with partner countries and organizations in the region to share best practices in implementing our global environmental commitments in an effective and efficient manner while avoiding duplication of effort. And on a separate note, we have several comments on the conference document for the Secretariat to take note for its future publications. First, we think that it's essential that relevant multilateral schemes, especially those that involve the mandated entities like UNEP in this case, should receive proper attribution and weight. For example, in paragraph 25, we understand that it's referring to the multi-stakeholder mechanism under UNEP's Asia-Pacific Clean Air Partnership, but not once is this initiative nominally mentioned. It's important to provide proper attribution to ensure no duplication of efforts and the region can build on existing discussions at authoritative bodies on the matter such as UNEP. Second, there should be an avoidance of the use of unagreed concepts or terminologies in all documents. In its documents, the Secretariat should use only internationally agreed language under the relevant treaties, especially in the naming of initiatives under a UN banner. Specifically in paragraph 47 to 48, there are explicit references to environmental rights, and despite its noble intentions, which we do agree with in principle, do note that a right to a clean, healthy, and sustainable environment has not yet been established as a matter of customary international law. Treaty law does not yet provide for such rights, and there is no legal relationship between such a right and existing international law. Most resolution language takes into account such situation at large in its communications, but this conference document doesn't do that, and even uses that in the naming of a UN initiatives. So we'd like to request the Secretariat to be careful in the respecting agreed language throughout its communications. The other part that was raised by our Land Forestry Ministry experts was on paragraph 12. The phased emission reductions through carbon sequestration and avoided emissions from land use change, and forestry mixes different concepts, emission reductions and avoidance, and risks providing confused guidance on action. The terminology avoided emissions from land use change, and forestry can be particularly problematic as it's unclear as to what exact action is suggested, especially if the Secretariat were to facilitate any capacity building in that regard. It's noteworthy that the ambiguity surrounding the concept on such land use led to a recent decision at SB 60 under the Paris Agreement not to include this concept as action under Article 6.4, with discussions set to continue through 2028. We think that any controversial concept on land use or other matters under environmental treaty discussions should be treated with care, and the language used in describing the direction of Secretariat's work should align with those used at such conventions. We have suggested edits in the upcoming decisions, which we will expand later in that segment of the discussions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Japan. Colleagues, we need to move on to the list of organizations who are here to speak. Can I now call on UNDP?
Yes, thank you, Chair, Excellencies, and distinguished delegates. So my name is Din Long Pham, representing the UNDP Bangkok Regional Hub, as well as ESCAP, the Youth Empowerment in Climate Action Platform. UNDP and ESCAP work to empower youth from the Asia-Pacific to participate in low-carbon transitions, sustainable urban development, access to information on the environment, and participation in decision-making processes. ESCAP works closely with ESCAP as it responds to the 7th CED, named Ministerial Declaration on Protecting Our Planet, through regional cooperation and solidarity in Asia and the Pacific. The collaboration between ESCAP and ESCAP aims to enhance regional multi-stakeholder platforms that support youth-led action for the environment and development, utilizing a multi-level governance approach and integrating system thinking methodologies to address complex challenges. Youth are essential stakeholders, as recently highlighted in the Pact of the Future, which commits to strengthening meaningful youth participation at the subnational, national, and international levels. The United Nations is committed to supporting governments in engaging youth in order to accelerate progress on environmental and development challenges. For example, ESCAP has initiated the Regional Youth Parliament on Climate Action and supports the inclusion of young people in nationally determined contribution processes, fostering co-creation among youth and other decision makers to develop impactful and sustainable policies. As an inclusive intergovernmental platform promoting cooperation among member states and associate members, ESCAP is uniquely positioned to offer a vital platform for youth to engage with decision makers and to participate in processes with positive environmental impacts. Meanwhile, partners like ESCAP complement this platform, bringing unique expertise and networks, contributing to a whole-of-society approach in addressing environmental challenges. Together, ESCAP and ESCAP have brought youth voices, perspectives, and solutions forward to the 79th and 80th Commission sessions, as well as the 2024 Asia-Pacific Forum on Sustainable Development, among other significant convenings. For example, at the 79th Commission session, ESCAP coordinated a consultative youth statement delivered at the session's opening, and also this week, ESCAP is honored to bring youth voices forward to the 8th CED. Youth have demonstrated their commitment, ability, and right to engage meaningfully in the pressing challenges of today. ESCAP looks forward to continuing to collaborate with ESCAP, member states, and other partners on meaningful youth engagement and sustaining and evolving this crucial work in accordance with development needs and shifting landscapes. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Can I now give the floor to the Asia Indigenous Peoples Pact Foundation? You have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, Sir Chair. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, and our friends and relatives. I'm Prem Singh Tharu from Asia Indigenous People Pact, AIPP. AIPP is, as an EcoShock accredited organization, has been constantly coordinating, collaborating, and partnering with the UN ESCAP about the participation and contribution of the indigenous peoples in the regional process. We would like to take an opportunity to appreciate the collaborative and cooperative leading role and work of ESCAP in the region, coordinating with all the major groups in the constituencies for the APFSD and other process. And also we would like to thank to UNDP, UNE, FAO, and other UN agencies who have been consistently coordinating with all the major groups in the regional process as well. While acknowledging the program of work of the Secretariat, I would like to highlight some key areas that's very important to prioritize to include in its program of works. We support and appreciate the Secretariat's reports under Section 2, subsection F1, titled Strengthening Youth Networks and Engagement in Environment and Development Action. So it's very important to highlight this because indigenous youth are the right holders. And in the same way, it's very important to also include and prioritize strengthening indigenous peoples, women's networks as the right holders, networks and engagements in the environment and development actions. Since environment and development are sometimes paradoxical to each other, the respect and implementation of the international environmental instruments, environmental due diligence, recognition and respect of the right to participation of the right holders, knowledge holders, practitioners, especially of indigenous peoples, youth, and women, in addressing the environmental and developmental challenges must be ensured in the decisions whatever adopted by the committee. There are 4 draft decisions in the report, but those draft decisions have excluded right to free, prior, informed consent, that is fundamental human rights, means right to self-determined development, collective and human right-based approach, and co-responsibilities, which are important to be included to ensure access to information and public participation in addressing the environmental and development challenges. As nature-based solutions is being considered as one of the important solution pathways to address the environmental and developmental challenges, the decisions must recognize and include vital and crucial roles and contributions of the indigenous knowledge and traditional knowledge systems and practices which originates, co-creates, regenerates, and leads the nature-based solutions. ESCAP has also important to highlight the provisions of the Rio Declaration on Environment and Development. Means principally if we focus, then the principle 10 is there in the report, but principle 19, 20, 21, and 22 are also equally important to include in the decision and then program of work that can ensure the access to information and public participation in protection of the environment and sustainable development. As well, the Article 2.3 and Article 8.2 of the Declaration on the Rights to the Development adopted by the General Assembly Resolution 41/128 of December 1986 need to be included in the policy decision and program of works. Last but not the least, as the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of the People is a fundamental international human rights instruments, the Article 15, 16, 39, 40, and 41 are very much important to be included in the decisions and program of actions relating to environment and development. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you. Colleagues, we are really uptight for time. May I ask the next two speakers to be specific, because I want to close this at least by 11:30. Can I ask UNEP, please? You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'd like to focus on oceans protection. My name is Mahesh Pradhan, and I'm the coordinator of the coordinating body on the seas of East Asia, which is known as COPSI. This is administered by UNEP, in addition to NAUPAP, which is the Northwest Pacific Action Plan, and is part of the Regional Seas Program. Mr. Chair, 2024 is very special for the Regional Seas in the fact that it is the 50th anniversary of the Regional Seas Program. The countries that have been working together on the protection of the marine environment, especially in the COPSI context, are mainly ASEAN, 7 countries, but we also have China and the Republic of Korea. And here, there have been a number of efforts underway, and this is particularly relevant, Mr. Chair, in the context of the new strategic directions that have been adopted by the 9 COPSI participating countries, reflecting on the triple planetary crises. On the first one, on pollution, marine pollution, a lot of work has been done on plastics. And here, of course, the Republic of Korea is hosting the 5th INC later next month in Busan. And with the adoption of a regional action plan on marine litter, countries have worked on land-based sources, sea-based sources, monitoring, and on knowledge sharing. In terms of looking at nutrients, which is an emerging topic, a lot of focus has been on the GEF 8 program, the Clean and Healthy Integrated Program, and here again, COPSI is supporting countries to move the process forward. The next topic, which is looking at nature and the marine environment, and here the marine and coastal ecosystems, a lot of work has been done, especially in terms of marine protected areas, marine and coastal spatial planning, as well as in terms of habitats, the region which is very diverse, coral reefs, seagrass, to name a few, and mangroves. And here, with COP16 taking place in Cali, Colombia next week, there will be an Oceans Day, and again, with the COPSI countries, there is a marine and coastal ecosystems framework that has been adopted. The third area under the triple planetary crises looks at climate change, and here with our colleagues in ESCAP, with ocean-based climate action, we're looking forward to strengthening the efforts. And in this context, Ms. Chair and Ms. Delegates, I wanted to mention that we are working together in the protection of the marine environment as we move towards the 3rd UN Ocean Conference in France next June. And here, in fact, the next intergovernmental meeting, IGM 26, for the COP/C countries is taking place in Siem Reap, Cambodia next week. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, UNEP. My last speaker will be Global Youth Biodiversity Network. Colleagues, if any other intervention that is raising their flag, please can that be deferred to the afternoon session. Global Youth Biodiversity Network, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, Sawasdee krap. My name is Jetta Tirantarat. I am a co-coordinator of the Global Youth Biodiversity Network of Thailand. It is my honor and solemn responsibility to address the committee today, representing the youth voices from the Asia-Pacific region. Yesterday morning, we heard from 2 youth representatives from the Asia-Pacific Youth Development Forum, or APYDF, at the opening of the CED. They not only painted the harrowing picture of what it's like to live as a young person in these turbulent times, but also the vision of cities as the catalyst to realize the SDGs through localization, driven by public, private, and youth partnership, with youth at the table to chart our very future together with decision makers. These are not simply aspirations, it is an imperative. Youth around the world stand ready to lead and partner in the green transition. I'm certain everyone is aware of Greta Thunberg and her Fridays for Future movement. They have mainstreamed climate change as a global issue. However, let's not forget the youth in this very region as well. We too have spearheaded initiatives that have shaped environmental policy on regional and global scales. In 2021, the first ASEAN Youth on Climate Action Conference produced and presented the Banda Seri Begawan Declaration on ASEAN Youth for Climate Action to the government of Brunei Darussalam. This declaration was the catalyst for Brunei's decision to establish the ASEAN Center for Climate Change. Similarly, the Pacific Islands students fighting climate change succeeded after years of advocacy in pushing the UN General Assembly to seek the International Court of Justice's advisory opinion on climate change and human rights. This opinion will set a new global benchmark for climate governance, and it all began with 27 Pacific students. Fortunately, the youths are not on our own. The United Nations play a critical role in connecting youth and government. ESCAP, UNDP, ESCAP, and other entities provide key platforms and resources to enhance partnerships with youth and to deliver outcomes together since the 7th CED. ESCAP and partners have worked to open up space for youth innovation and engagement at the aforementioned APYDF and the Asia-Pacific Forum on Sustainable Development, and have published a policy brief on meaningful youth engagement in climate action. Similarly, ESCAP has authored a compendium on best practices of climate governance, meaningful youth engagement in climate governance, and has partnered with the Local Conference of Youth, or ALCOY, in Pakistan, India, Cambodia, and Vietnam, to have youth voices heard in the UN FCCC processes. However, despite progress and support, we are still not adequately represented in the decision-making spaces. With more than 60% of global youth residing in the Asia-Pacific, it is unfortunate that only 1.84% of youth under 30 are involved in policymaking. This must change. Youth are not passive victims of climate change. We are active agents of transformation. We have proven our capability to catalyze meaningful change, but for work to have sustained impact, we need a seat at the table alongside decision makers as equal partners. Decision makers only need to take the final step, open the doors, make space for us, and commit to partnering with youth. Together, we can co-create a roadmap towards an environmentally sustainable and climate-resilient future. But it requires urgency, accountability, and above all, recognition that we are equal stakeholders ready to act. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes the statements from the organizations, and we can now move to the issues for consideration. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, I draw your attention to the draft decisions as contained in document ESCAP/CED 8/4. There are 4 draft decisions. Draft Decision 1 reads as follows. The Committee on Environment and Development notes the progress made in implementing the Ministerial Declaration on Protecting Our Planet through regional cooperation and solidarity in Asia and the Pacific, and encourages members and associate members of the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific to enhance their domestic plans and actions, as well as regional cooperation in the priority areas of the Ministerial Declaration. The committee also invites members and associate members to submit proposals, including on partnerships aimed at accelerating progress. May I ask if there are any delegations who would like to comment on the draft decision? I see the Russian Federation.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. The last 3 lines, the sentence reading in the priority areas of the Ministerial Declaration. We suggest minor edit, taken into account thematic areas highlighted in the Ministerial Declaration. Thank you.
Thank you, Russian Federation. Any other? After cooperation, insert the proposal from the Russian Federation. Is that correct, Russia?
Yeah, not insertion actually, the swap.
Swap. Okay, it's Russian Federation. Can you just repeat your? Is that correct? Okay, thank you. Any other interventions? Iran, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Regarding the 3 lines, regarding the 7th line of the text, after to enhance their domestic plans and actions, we have a small insertion here, in accordance with national priorities and circumstances. Thank you.
Thank you, Iran. There is no further comments. Can we accept these changes, these proposals? There is no objection. Thank you very much. Thank you. Can we move to the next issue for consideration? May I read the Committee on Environment and Development encourages members and associate members of the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific to consider scaling up efforts to develop robust and ambitious action plans for low carbon, climate resilient development, including by enhancing the urban contents of nationally determined contributions, in line with the decisions of the outcome of the first global stocktake adopted at the 28th session of the Conference of the Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, and requests the Secretariat to continue to support the development and implementation of third-generation nationally determined contributions in collaboration with relevant United Nations organizations, development partners, and other stakeholders. May I ask if there are any delegations who would like to comment on the draft decision? I give the floor to the Russian Federation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The way we see the text, which might be palatable for my delegation, would be the following. We delete the line or the words starting from to consider, the third line, to consider, through to Framework Convention on Climate Change. To be deleted and to be replaced by to enhance national climate strategies My apologies. Yeah, that's correct. That would be the replacement for the first part. Then we delete the caveat which reads, which comes after the word requests. Yes, after delete everything after the request. Requests. We retain the word requests. Yes, delete. And we suggest the following, and request the Secretariat to continue to support actions of member states and associate member states to mitigate and adapt to climate change. Full stop. Thank you.
Thank you, Russian Federation. Secretary, can you fix that up? Can I ask the U.S. delegation the floor?
Sorry, I believe our edit is now overtaken by the proposal of the Russian delegation.
Thank you, U.S. Colleagues, the proposal before you, we need to tidy it up and endorse it if we can. Should there be any other interventions or any? Japan, yes. You have the floor, ma'am.
So again, it's completely changed, but I do want this concept in there. The Secretariat to continue to, well, just working on the Russian language, the Secretariat to continue to support action of member states, associated member states, comma, upon request and within existing mandate and resources. Comma, and then afterwards, at the end of the sentence, while avoiding duplication of effort. I think while avoiding duplication of effort might be at the end of the sentence. Of efforts.
Japan? Is that correct? Is that reflecting your proposal? Thank you. Thank you. Any other views to the proposal that is before us? Can we clean it up? China, you have the floor, ma'am.
Thanks, Chair. Basically, China is okay with the proposals by Russian Federation and Japan, but we have one minor edit on the terminology of member states and associate member states. I think it should be members and associate members, which aligns with the terminology in ESCAP document. Thank you.
Can I ask the Secretariat to clarify that? Thank you, China. China?
Sorry, sir. I repeat again, it should be members and associate members.
Okay, China, I think that's taken on board. We can do editorial later. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Colleagues, can we move forward in accepting this text? Thank you. Let's move to the draft decision 3. It is number 5, right? Decision 5. The Committee on Environment and Development notes the significant roles of the Asia-Pacific Urban Forum in facilitating multi-stakeholder dialogue and cooperation on sustainable urban development in the region. It also notes the active participation of national governments in the forum, recognizing the importance of multi-level governance and multi-stakeholder views for defining needs and priorities for sustainable urban development and the localization of the Sustainable Development Goals, and invites members and associate members of the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific to consider submitting a proposal to host the 9th Asia-Pacific Urban Forum to be held in 2027. May I ask if there are any delegations who would like to comment on the draft decision? Thank you. Russian Federation, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The second line, the sentence which actually the wording which comes after facilitating through to sustainable development goals, including through to sustainable development goals, to be deleted. And we suggest the following to replace the deletion. Cooperation on sustainable urban development in the region, with the involvement of major stakeholders, Thank you.
Thank you, Russian Federation. Any other interventions or proposals? Japan, and then the US.
We'd like to, I think the significant is a very kind of a very bombastic language in the first line. Can you replace that with something like key role? And just a clarification, is this with the involvement of multi-stakeholders, which is the terminology that we've used in ESCAP resolutions? I think it says major stakeholders, but.
Thank you, Japan.
So the stakeholders, yeah, the multi, I think that's.
Yes. Yeah, multi-stakeholders. US, can I give you the floor, sir?
It's just one comment to say that China rightly pointed out that we use this language actually in the last decision, but it doesn't, when we did in the last decision, it doesn't say members of what it says here, the ESCAP. So just a recommendation to reform that language in the prior one to be consistent with this.
Thank you, US, for the consistencies in language proposals. That will be done. If there are no other views, proposals, can we accept this draft decision? Please. Thank you. Let's move on to the draft decision 4. Thank you. That will be cleaned up, and we move on to the next decision, draft decision 4, which is decision 6, I understand. The Committee on Environment and Development welcomes the initial discussions of the Technical Expert Group on Environment and Development and invites all member states to nominate experts to membership in the Technical Expert Group in accordance with the terms of reference adopted at the 7th session of the committee. May I ask if there are any delegations who would like to comment on the draft decision? I recognize Japan and Russian Federation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As per our intervention yesterday, we think that there needs to be added clarity in the operationalization of the technical expert group. And so we suggest at the end of the sentence in decision 6 to have the following addition, comma, and requests the Secretariat to clarify the theme topic of the discussions at least 42 days ahead of such meetings to enable members to nominate the appropriate experts beforehand. 42 days is in accordance with Rule 2 of the Rules of Procedure, so that's why I said 42 days. The theme topic of discussions. These, I would delete that. Nominate the appropriate experts beforehand.
Yep. Beforehand.
I'm sorry, and request the Secretary to clarify the theme topic of discussions at least 42 days ahead of such meetings to enable members to nominate the appropriate experts beforehand.
Thank you, Japan. Russian Federation, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, I would like to say that we are absolutely fine with the proposal made by the delegation of Japan, which we deem quite useful, though there might be the need for just a technical edit for the sentence, and I would explain why. Because at the terms of reference of the Technical Expert Group on Committee on Environment and Development, Technical Expert Group on Environment and Development provides for nomination of the experts by member states, and as was rightly mentioned yesterday by the Secretariat, it also actually keeps the door open for the participation of other relevant experts as might be needed. So there is one side, procedural, the nomination of the experts who might be assumed as the one coordinating at the national level the activities related to the technical expert group. So we suggest the following edit. Invites all member states, delete all. And I will explain. After states who have not yet done so, and the rationale is purely technical. I do know actually that we formally nominated experts for this technical expert group, but it is also true that the nominations process is not completed yet. And taking into account that there are two aspects, actually, formally nominated, so to say, coordinators, national coordinators, which are called experts for the technical expert group, I would suggest that slight, just minor amendment to the text proposed by our distinguished colleague from the delegation of Japan to enable members to nominate not to nominate, but maybe to enable members to decide on the participation of appropriate member, to decide on the participation of appropriate experts beforehand. Just to avoid the confusion between the formal process of nomination of those two experts as provided for by the terms of reference of the technical expert group, and the wide range of experts in various fields that might be invited to participate in this or that meeting of the technical expert group, depending on the subject matter.
Japan?
Thank you.
Fine. Thank you. China, can I give you the floor, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Actually, the delegate from the Russian Federation has already solved my question, because I saw in the terms of reference of the technical expert group, the experts are nominated for 3-year terms. So I think the experts we nominate at the membership of this expert group is different from the participation of these expert group meetings. So we basically agree with the amendments made by the Russian Federation. Thank you.
Thank you, China. Colleagues, can we proceed with this text, proposed text? United States.
Sorry, just one readability. I think it should read, clarify the theme and topics of discussions, or the theme or topic. I'd recommend and then pluralize topic.
If there's no objections to the U.S., okay, there's none, so can we move forward? Can I ask the Secretary to just seek a clarification? Thank you.
Thank you, this delegate, for this proposal. And I would like, on behalf of the Secretariat, in order to operationalize this decision, I would like to seek your clarification and guidance. In the second part of this decision, enable members, do I understand correct? This refers to members of a TEC, not member state. Wow. So because we understand that TEC members, they can invite, identify, suggest, and invite experts relevant to the topics of discussion. So if it is, whether it is members of a TEC or member state or associated members.
Thank you, Secretary, for that clarification. The proposal that came from the Russian Federation, can I ask you to respond to that? A clarifications on members. Is it reference to member states or members of TEC? On the last, sorry.
My apologies, Mr. Chair. That was actually the proposal made by the delegation of Japan, and
yeah.
I would not like to usurp.
Okay, I apologize. I apologize, Russian Federation. Japan, any?
Well, I guess the member states nominated that expert, but that expert may, for example, just be able to say anything on air pollution. He cannot say anything about forestry or whatever. So we need to replace that person, right, for whatever the topic is relevant. So in that case, I think the terms of reference refer to member states, correct? So for consistency, we asked the Secretariat for guidance for consistency with the TOR. Would member states be the proper alignment here? We want to be fully consistent with the adopted TOR.
Thank you, Japan, for that clarification. So that'll be in accordance with the TOR, correct? Thank you. Yeah. Colleagues, can we endorse this text now as amended? Okay, thank you very much. That's been adopted. At this time, we shall break and reconvene in the same conference room this afternoon at 1400 hours, time sharp, to continue the discussions under agenda item 4. Before we adjourn for lunch, I invite the Secretary to make some announcements. Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you to all of the delegations for the participation and contributing to the morning's discussions. A few announcements on what will take place this afternoon. You're free to have your lunch from this time forward. Please be informed that there are 2 side events which will take place before the afternoon session. From 12:30 to 1:30, there's a side event on regional collaboration for smart cities, co-organized by ESCAP, the governments of Laos, PDR, Cambodia, and Thailand, to be held in meeting room H. Between 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock, there is a side event on the review of air quality status and actions in Asia and the Pacific, co-organized by ESCAP, UNEP, the governments of Japan and the Republic of Korea, and the Asian Disaster Preparedness Center, to be held in meeting room G. You'll see those on the screen, and they are on the CED website if you would like to check for details. All committee participants are welcome to attend. There will be light food and drinks served outside MRH before the start of the side event on level 1. The Secretariat also requests delegates and participants to kindly fill out the evaluation questionnaire on the relevance, effectiveness, and efficiency of the committee session before the end of the meeting on Friday, so that we can improve the next committee in 2026. You'll see the QR code on the screen and on your table. Agenda item 4, as the chair has already announced, will begin at 2 p.m. in this conference room. Please enjoy your lunch break.
Thank you, Secretariat. I now declare the meeting adjourned. Bon appetit.